Bada boosh, can you do the Fandango? We're redesigning Fandango today, a website that I use often to find new interesting movies to go watch and then ultimately buy a ticket at a theater to go and enjoy them. And as you can see from their existing UI, there's quite a lot going on here. This is Avatar, The Way of the Water, and we've got all these local theaters to me in Atlanta, and then there's just lots of different call to action. I'm scrolling down the whole page to try and find the appropriate theater to go to. It seems very unnecessary. There's got to be a better way, and today we're going to try and build that better way. As always, we've got our brand guidelines here with their blacks and grays. Got their nice primary orange, some blues, and we're using Proxima Nova for the header and body font. That's what they use on the existing site, and I want to see if I can make it work in the new site. Proxima Nova is a really flexible font. I'm not expecting that it's going to be too much of a challenge, but it's always nice to preserve the font choice, because if you modernize the font, it's kind of like cheating, right? You get a really significant lift to the aesthetic for basically no brain power at all. So, gonna get stuck in here. Got my stories. Of course, we're just trying to learn about the movie. Learn about the movie that you're interested in watching. Select a movie theater to go and watch it. I want to select a time to watch it after I've selected my theater, and then buy tickets to see the movie once I've picked all of that, and then maybe search for some other movies to go and see at some other point in time. So, gonna get stuck in, and excited to see what I come up with here. So, hang in there, folks. I'll be back in a minute. Starting out with the header here, and there is one design pattern that I want to highlight that I've been using a lot recently, and you'll likely find some utility in this one. And that's using a slightly darker hue of a very saturated background color to indicate selection. So here you can see that movies is clearly selected because we're using a slightly darker hue of the same orange to indicate that. And we'll apply this same treatment to all of the other components on the header bar here that have some kind of background element, and that way we get the utility of emphasizing individual elements of the header without using too many different colors. Another problem I noticed with the existing Fandango UI is that they kind of mixed where they were placing metadata. In the existing UI, they have the rating and the duration on the left, and then they have the reviews off to the right in the same metadata container, which I felt was kind of strange. So just left aligning everything here so that it's consistent. Here you're going to see me play around with the images here quite a lot, and that's mostly because I really want to include both this movie poster and the trailer, because they both bring a different kind of emotional impact to the user and help drive them towards making the decision to watch a particular movie. And now I'm building out the date picker for the UI, and of course, when you are thinking about going to see a movie, generally speaking, you think of the date first before you think of the theater you want to go to, so it makes sense to include that first. And also, I'm just kind of stealing the same treatment that exists on their current UI. Having multiple options in line for selection like this is the way to go whenever you're doing something like this, where generally speaking, people select from a closed group of specific options, in this case, each day for the next, say, 9 days or so. And And of course, if we're gonna let users pick from a list of theaters later down the line, we first need to understand where they are physically located in the world. It doesn't make sense to show someone a theater that's in Alaska if they live in Florida. And it's really interesting, the journey that you go on when you try to redesign a popular UI, because you kind of realize why the original designers made the decisions that they did. And in this case, I'm realizing that having all of the times displayed on a single theater card, split up by the type of theater is actually a really good solution to the problem of helping users find the right time to show up to a theater. Because since there are multiple times that they need to select from, and different theater types and different theaters, it just doesn't make sense to make them, or to force users rather, to select a theater first, then select the type, then select the time. Ultimately, the time's really what's going to be their ultimate decision. And just whether or not it's in a digital 3D theater or a traditional classical theater is kind of just like a fun novelty. So displaying all of the times helps users easily disambiguate through all of the decision criteria at once, and it's a really novel solution. So we're just stealing that straight from Fandango. I really wanted to make this map component work, but after thinking about it a little bit more, I kind of realized that people don't really care about the geographic location of the theater that much. What they really want to know is how far away is it, and is there accessible parking nearby, right? You don't necessarily want to watch a movie in a specific neighborhood, but rather just kind of know how far away is it from me right now. So end up scrapping this map component altogether. And here you're seeing me kind of struggle with the fact that there's just a lot of white space on the right side without that map there now. And then I'm kind of, sometimes this happens when you're designing things where everything just lines up perfectly and it works really well. Placing the times on the left and then the theaters on the right is a very natural progression for designing for Western interfaces. You do the first step on the left and the second step on the right. So I've just moved the times over to the left and put the theaters on the right here, so intuitively people are going to know, okay, I have to select the date first and then I can select from theaters on the right. So I think this layout is more appropriate than just kind of stacking them like they had on the existing site. And as we always say on this channel, the business of design is very important. When you're designing something for users, you can't forget that there is an economy behind the UI that you're building. And the business of Fandango needs to make money some way, so they need a space to advertise. But of course, that doesn't mean we can just drop ads all over the UI and just call it a day, right? Instead, I'm a big fan of placing contextual, meaningful ads that are relevant to the user when they make sense. So here we've got an advertisement for Fandango Plus, a premium subscription at the very top. It doesn't pull very much visual attention, but it does hit them immediately, and users can dismiss it if they want to. And the buy ticket experience here could really go either way. It could be a modal or its own page. I wanted to stretch my design skills a little bit and try and cram it into a modal to see if I could make it work aesthetically and make the information architecture still sensible. So that's what I'm trying here. And of course, we need to display to the user a summary of what they're doing and then tell them, or give them a mechanism rather, for selecting which sorts of tickets they want for this particular visit to the movie theater. And then once they've done all that, they should be able to confirm. So just getting all of this polished up here, and I'll probably skip to the end of this part because it did take me quite a while and save you the boredom of having to watch through all of that. And here I'm actually swapping out the thumbnail for the preview trailer with the actual video from the preview trailer. But I'm actually just going to skip to the end here so you can see what that all eventually looks like, because I don't want to spoil it, because it actually is quite a cool little aesthetic. Alright, I did a little polish off screen there, but I think we've kind of arrived at a really solid Fandango, right? This is, to me, the kind of thing that would pull me in and kind of move me through the process of signing up to go and watch a movie at a local theater really easily. So obviously we've got the information architecture kind of telling us immediately what we're looking at. Avatar, The Way of the Water, 2022. We've got the metadata, a little blurb about the movie, the cinematic poster that's kind of, probably people are used to seeing that. It's something they're familiar with. And then of course the trailer that's kind of really pulling my attention and designed in a way that it's really tantalizing. Like, I want to click this. We've also got this call to action up here for Fandango Plus, a premium subscription service, but it's not super invasive, right? We're advertising without obstructing. It's just taking up some space here, and you can dismiss it if you want. And then we're scrolling down through the page, and then we simply select a date, select a time, and then confirm everything with the number of tickets we want to purchase, and then get going. So all things considered, I mean, I would really enjoy something like this, but of course I'm, as always, really partial to the designs that I design. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would do differently here, or anything you'd tweak. Do you think this is a total dog's dinner, or is there a little nugget of value in here somewhere? So anyway, hope you enjoyed this one, and hope you got something out of it, and I hope you have a lovely week. See you next week. Bye, guys.